Welcome to Meaning in Christ. This video is a part of the My Thoughts on God series. In this section, discuss my interpretation of Bible stories. Today, we're exploring one of the most well-known stories in the Bible, the story of Adam and Eve. Instead of focusing solely on the theological elements, we'll explore how this story reflects human growth, self-awareness, and the loss of innocence. The narrators used human development as a framework, drawing from their understanding of how a child matures from birth to adulthood. This perspective is mirrored in the stages of Adam and Eve's journey, illustrating their progression from innocence to the knowledge of good and evil. This offers profound insights into our own human experience. Let's begin with a brief recap. In Genesis 2:15-17, God places Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden and gives them a single command. You are free to eat from any tree in the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for when you eat from it, you will certainly die. Despite this warning, in Genesis chapter 3:6-7, they succumb to temptation. Eve, persuaded by the serpent, eats the fruit, and Adam follows. Immediately, the eyes of both of them were opened, and they realized they were naked. Their innocence is lost, and they now perceive themselves and the world in an entirely new light. In the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve resemble young children, innocent and unaware of life's complexities. This parallels early human development, particularly what psychologist Jean Piaget termed the pre-operational stage. During this phase, children are not yet capable of understanding abstract concepts or moral reasoning, much like how Adam and Eve initially live without knowledge of good and evil. They are, in essence, unaware of the world's moral complexities, relying entirely on God's care and protection, just as children depend on their parents. In Genesis 2:25, it's noted that Adam and his wife were both naked, and they felt no shame. This lack of shame reflects the innocence of childhood, a time before self-consciousness and societal norms influenced our perception of ourselves. However, as we grow, we begin to explore, question, and seek understanding, leading us to pivotal moments of self-awareness, much like Adam and Eve's experience after eating the forbidden fruit. After consuming it, Genesis 3:7 tells us, then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they realized they were naked. This mirrors a crucial stage in human development when we become aware of ourselves as individuals. Around the age of 2 or 3, children develop a theory of mind, the understanding that others have thoughts and feelings different from their own. This newfound self-awareness brings about a sense of vulnerability and sometimes shame. Psychologist Erik Erikson describes stages of psychosocial development, and during the initiative versus guilt stage, children begin to assert power and control over their environment. They start to evaluate their actions and may feel guilt when they overstep boundaries. Similarly, Adam and Eve's realization leads them to feel shame and fear, emotions they had not experienced before, prompting them to cover themselves and hide from God. The expulsion from Eden symbolizes the transition from the security of childhood to the responsibilities of adulthood. In Genesis 3:19, God tells Adam, "By the sweat of your brow you will eat your food until you return to the ground." This represents the necessity of labor and the hardships that come with sustaining oneself, realities we all face as we grow up. Leaving the Garden of Eden is akin to leaving the safety of our family homes and stepping into the world on our own. This parallels Erikson's identity versus role confusion stage during adolescence, where individuals explore different aspects of themselves to form a personal identity. Like Adam and Eve, who must navigate a new reality outside of Eden, adolescents grapple with understanding who they are outside the comfort of childhood. Later, in the intimacy versus isolation stage of young adulthood, individuals seek meaningful relationships and a sense of belonging, echoing the challenges Adam and Eve face as they begin to build a life in a less forgiving world. Their inability to return to Eden reflects a universal truth. Once we gain knowledge and experience, we cannot return to our former state of innocence. This loss of innocence is a natural part of human development, marking the end of naivety and the beginning of a more complex understanding of life. So, what can we take away from the story of Adam and Eve? One compelling interpretation is that it encapsulates the human journey, from the innocence of childhood to the self-awareness and responsibilities of adulthood. In Genesis 3:22, God says, "The man has now become like one of us, knowing good and evil." With knowledge comes the burden of choice and the weight of responsibility. Like Adam and Eve, we all must leave our own Garden of Eden, the sheltered existence of our early years. While this transition can be challenging, it's essential for growth, learning, and finding meaning in our lives. The story invites us to reflect on our own paths, the knowledge we've gained, and how we've navigated the loss of innocence. It reminds us that growth often comes with challenges, but these experiences shape who we become. Thank you for watching as I explored my thoughts on Adam and Eve. If you found this video meaningful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'll see you next time as we continue exploring the intersections of faith and history.